I'm Rick Rivas. I'm the channel chief for Fusion Connect, and I brought Brian Ramos here. He's your local contact, although I am here in Florida as well. I'm losing my voice a little bit already, which is kind of fun. So, before I came here, I called Dan up and I said, Dan, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, why don't you start with like how phone service started, and then get into the whole granular of how UCaaS was created. So I have an hour and a half deck to really just talk about everything. You guys all good with that? Is that a no, a yes? What's that? I'll just email it to you. That'll work. So I'm actually going to take a little different approach. So as you can see up there, it says the Fusion Connect experience. And the approach that I like to take is we do have all products. We have UCaaS, we have great SD-WAN, we have 3 flavors of SD-WAN, we have network from 200 different suppliers, we have POTS lines, we have security. But so does everybody else, right? I mean, everybody has UCaaS, everybody has pretty much SD-WAN and all the suppliers, and I'm not gonna be the one to come up here and say ours is better than theirs is better than ours. We use BroadSoft, we use WebEx, we have Fortinet, Meraki and Velo for our SD-WAN. We have a great team behind it to implement it. But what I'm going to get into a little bit is the people behind the scenes and the experience that we're trying to offer. My goal for being here. And for those of you that don't know, I've been doing this a little over 30 years. I see Dan has 1990 back here. Considering he was born in 87, I'm doubting it a little bit, but I'll go with it. But from what I've learned, because in my 32 years, 30 of it has been on your side as an agent, as a partner. So I get what people are looking for. And what keeps coming back to me is, Rick, don't tell me about your SD-WAN box. I get it. It's, everybody's got one. They want to know how we're going to make their life easier. All right. And is that important to people here? I mean, when you sell something, you want it to work. You want the process to flow. You want to make things happen. And the reason I came over here is basically because that's the mission of the company. Listen, we have all the great products. I'll get into where we came from in a second. But really, what can we do to differentiate ourselves? And in my opinion, it's making sure that we're creating a frictionless experience for our partners. And is it going to be perfect? No. But what I can tell you is that my entire team is enabled to make decisions to fix problems. So if it's a financial problem, if it's a commission issue, if it's a credit to a customer, if it's something going wrong with an install or a MACD, get off the email, get it fixed. We'll worry about the issues later. So to me, that's refreshing. That's the kind of stuff that I like to focus on, and that's really what Fusion Connect is about. I would like to ask, does anybody, we've been around for almost 30 years as well, Fusion Connect. I've been here about 7 months. Has anybody heard of Fusion? And if you do, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? POTS. POTS? Yeah. That's the answer I thought I'd get. Anybody else? All right, so my job, my number one job in the company is really as an ambassador of who we are and what we do. And while we've come from the acquisition of, so Fusion Connect actually is a different company. Fusion Connect bought the assets of Fusion, bought the assets of Birch, which is why everybody thinks of it as POTS, C-Beyond, which in there was Earnest, Megapath, Global Capacity, Megapath obviously was New Edge as well, and a few other acquisitions. So that's where we came from. We do POTS really, really well. We have a 100% automated system. A lot of the providers out there that sell POTS are actually buying it from us. It's a huge part of our business. We are a $500 million entity, so it's a pretty big company. But it's not our focus. Our focus, which Brian will get into a little bit, as he shows you some of the brands that we represent, is really the full stack, start to finish, multi-location opportunities. So, are we running this with this? Must be, right? Yeah. Just press that way? That one work? Wow, this is pretty cool. I gotta get one of these. No, only kidding. All right, so here's a little bit about the company. 750 employees, based out of Atlanta, nationwide. privately held. This is one of the reasons I came here. And again, I've been doing this for a while. When I got a call from Miro DeRigi and Brian Crotty, and some of you may know them, I know Dan probably knows them pretty well. Brian, our CEO, actually started as an agent. He was a partner of my original company that I owned in the early 90s. He grew his company so big that he sold it to a private equity, then bought into Broadview. You guys familiar with Broadview Networks? Who then was the president of Broadview, sold to Windstream, was the president of Windstream, left there, went to SunGard. The same private equity that owns us called him up and said, hey, I want you to light this company on fire and do what you did at the other companies. So he has a channel mentality. Miro DeRigi was running the channel for Windstream for years. So he ran the Windstream, actually Paytech, let me back up a little. Ran it for Paytech. Then after they sold, he went to Broadview, worked with Brian, running the channel as well. Then they sold to Windstream, and then he went with Brian here. And Keith Solden was the CFO for Earthling for many, many years. So the entire executive team, from myself on up, is all channel friendly, right? They get it, they get what you're looking for, and they get what, basically what moves the needle for you guys. We good? All right, this is something that we live by in the company as well, which is the customer comes first. So all of us work for the customer, and Brian will actually go out to virtually any customer. He also lives in Florida. He has a place in Atlanta by our headquarters as well, but he lives, I think about 30 minutes north of here. But he's gone to 3 customers in the last month that have all closed, and they're all on the fence. He comes across very authentic, very real, and when we get in front of the customers, and one was a $30,000 customer, a multi-location retail, $105,000 customer, nursing homes, full stack. It just turns the whole conversation around from financial to relationship and really makes a big difference. So this is something that he preaches to us every month on his calls. Listen, guys, I work for you. We all work for the customer. And then being that we are, Dan used the term CLEC, aggregator, reseller. We do have our own nationwide IP backbone, so we get visibility into everything we sell. That's the advantage of that. But when it comes on the network side, we're buying it, right? We're buying it from Comcast, we're buying it from Verizon, from AT&T, so on and so forth. When it comes to the SD-WAN, we don't try and put a round peg in a square hole. We have the 3 different flavors that I mentioned before, plus different levels. So if a customer doesn't need an expensive box with all the bells and whistles, we're not going to sell that to them. We're going to sell them a different flavor that fits their needs. It could be because of security, PCI, whatever it takes. But by doing that, we truly can come in and be that consultant. Instead of just taking these core products and throwing it down their throat, we can go different avenues. We can, if it's not working on this network, we can put it on this network. We can put redundant networks into one customer, all on our bill. Really, doing what they need and not what we need them to do, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. My name is Brian Ramos. I've been with Fusion for 4 months now, and I'm glad I made the move. When Rick approached me 4 months ago, my doubt was how much of a difference Fusion Connect have made the last year. There's been a lot of things going on with Fusion's name in terms of the bankruptcy last year and the acquirement of so many other carriers to make sure it works, right? The integration is key. So first thing I asked Rick, I don't know if you remember this, I told you. So are you going to promise me support? Are you going to promise me an engineer that could be available for my partners? Because at the end of the day, I don't need an engineer. Who needs an engineer is a customer. It's a partner itself. So there's a lot of great support coming from Fusion Connect. We have a coding team behind me here. I'm in Florida. I'm local here with you guys. But obviously, I've been in the industry for over 15 years. So glad to be here with TCG. We go back many years, and on a product standpoint, and again, Rick was mentioning, there's no surprise, right? We do UCaaS, we do connectivity very well, and this is our technology stack, our pyramid. As you can see, I know most of you here sell this already. UCaaS, we have a very robust offering for UCaaS. Obviously, it's on the BroadSoft platform. Hosted seats start at $16.95 a month. That's with the limited long distance and features inclusive. And as well as the connectivity portion. The connectivity portion, I think, is very important because we work with 200 plus last mile carriers throughout the United States. So we can give you the diversity that you guys need for any customer that it's currently on another circuit. So just keep that in mind. I mean, our niche has always been diversified the customer's technology needs. So you can use us for that. Obviously, we have the SD-WAN product, which for me, it's great because not only we're tied to one platform, but we actually use three depending upon the customization needs of the customer. And then Rick did point out our IP backbone, and it's very, it's very covering, right, throughout the whole United States. And what that does for us allows us to monitor it 24 hours, 7 days a week. One good point of Fusion Connect is that our 24 hours, 7 days a week support is all in the US. So you're not dealing with someone outside the US with a situation in terms of language barrier or just difficult access of their services. We are in the major cities of the US, as you can see here on the map. And when do you use Fusion Connect? That's a great question. What is our sweet spot? And I'll tell you what our sweet spot is. It's usually the multi-location customers. The reason why is because we can bundle everything in. I know we touch on the pods, but we do much more than that. We do UCaaS. We do the connectivity side. We do the failover option if needed at each location. There's really not a vertical that we don't touch. As you can see here, we're everywhere. We're everywhere in the United States. The company itself, it's well ready to take of any risk in terms of opportunities that are complex. Again, that's why we have an engineering team for that. Here's some of our clients that we've completely successfully installed in the last couple years. As you can see, very well brand names here. And again, we love those multi-location customers. Even though you're looking at, each location has POS machines, so you're looking at maybe a POTS line or even a, say, broadband connection. Just keep that in mind, and we're here just to provide not only one option, but we can provide you the whole solution. Okay. We also do the 4G very well, so we use AT&T as well as Verizon. So that's another good benefit. Obviously, we don't sell the cell phone service in terms of voice, but we do the data side very well. So again, that comes back on our SD-WAN product. You can tie that in. And it's a great example of one of our customers we recently closed on. It was in the healthcare industry, and what they needed was a whole stack of services that we have, such as the UCaaS seats, the SD-WAN product. Obviously, you're dealing with the HIPAA, so the security side, we use Fortinet to provide the SD-WAN solution. And as you can see, the whole approach was to tie in the connectivity as well as the UCaaS side. The results, as you can see here, was a very well, I would say, well-defined, right, through our engineering side. And they're happy today. They're happy today. So make it nice and sweet for you guys in this presentation. In terms of spiffs, we do carry some of them. As you can see, our focus, like Rick mentioned, is our UCaaS, is our SD-WAN, as well as our connectivity side through SD-WAN. Again, we do also offer POTS lines. Our POTS line spiff is $50 per POTS line. It's there for you in case you need it. But again, remember us not only as a company that offers pots, but a company that does it all. The solution-based provider. Thank you very much, everybody. Looking forward to working with you.